The morning sun peeked over the horizon, casting a golden glow across the quiet streets of Crestwood, a small town where life moved at its own pace. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of blooming flowers. It was one of those mornings that felt like a fresh start, but for some, fresh starts were hard to come by. In a modest parking lot near the edge of town, a car sat quietly, its windows slightly fogged from the cool night. Inside, a young woman named Clara rocked her baby gently, humming a soft lullaby. Her face was tired, but her eyes held a spark of determination. Clara was no stranger to hardship. Life had thrown her curveballs, but she refused to give up. She had a job, a tiny ray of hope, and her baby Mia, who was her entire world. Clara worked at a local diner, a place called Sunny Spot, where she served coffee and smiles to the regulars. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills, or at least it used to. Lately, things had gotten harder. Rent had gone up, her car had broken down, and her paycheck barely covered the basics. With no family to turn to, Clara had made the difficult decision to live in her car temporarily. It wasn't ideal, but it was the only way she could keep Mia safe and fed. Little did Clara know, her life was about to change in a way she could never have imagined. Across town, in a sleek office building that stood out among the modest shops and homes, a man named Daniel Harper sat at his desk. Staring out the window, Daniel was the CEO of Harper Foods, a successful chain of grocery stores that had started as a small family business. He was known for his sharp mind, his dedication to his work, and his quiet generosity. But lately, Daniel had been feeling disconnected. He had everything he could ever want: money, success, respect. But something was missing. Daniel had always believed in leading by example. He didn't just sit in his office and give orders. He liked to be involved, to see how things were really going. That's why, once a month, he would go undercover in one of the stores or affiliated businesses. He would dress casually, blend in with the employees, and work alongside them. It was his way of staying grounded, of understanding the people who kept his company running. This month, Daniel had chosen Sunny Spot. He had heard good things about the diner, and he wanted to see it for himself. He didn't know it yet, but this decision would change not just his life, but Clara's and Mia's as well. The next morning, Daniel walked into Sunny Spot, dressed in a simple plaid shirt and jeans. He introduced himself as Dan, a new hire, and was quickly put to work. The diner was busy, the air filled with the clatter of dishes and the hum of conversation. Daniel noticed Clara right away. There was something about her, the way she moved with purpose, the way she smiled at the customers even though her eyes looked weary. As the day went on, Daniel observed Clara closely. He saw how she juggled multiple tasks without complaint, how she treated every customer with kindness, even the difficult ones. But he also noticed the dark circles under her eyes, the way she seemed to be carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. During a brief break, Daniel struck up a conversation with Clara. "You're really good at this," he said, smiling. "How long have you been working here?" Clara hesitated for a moment, then replied, "About a year now. It's a good place to work." Her voice was soft, but there was a hint of sadness in it. Daniel nodded, sensing there was more to her story. "Do you live nearby?" he asked casually. Clara's face tightened, and she looked away. "Not too far," she said quickly, but Daniel could tell she was hiding something. That evening, as Daniel left the diner, he noticed Clara walking toward the parking lot. Curiosity got the better of him, and he followed at a distance. What he saw broke his heart. Clara climbed into an old car, where a baby was sleeping in a car seat. She pulled a blanket over the child and sat in the driver's seat, her shoulders slumping as if the weight of the world had finally caught up to her. Daniel stood there for a moment, his mind racing. He had always believed in helping others, but this was different. This was personal. He knew he had to do something. The next day, Daniel returned to Sunny Spot, but this time he wasn't undercover. He walked in wearing a suit, and employees immediately recognized him as the CEO of Harper Foods. Clara's eyes widened in shock as he approached her. "Clara," he said gently, "I need to talk to you." Clara's heart raced. Was she in trouble? Had she done something wrong? She followed Daniel to a quiet corner, her hands trembling. Clara, Daniel began, I saw you last night. I saw where you've been living. And I want you to know you don't have to do this alone. Tears filled Clara's eyes as the truth sank in. She had been so careful, so determined to keep her struggles hidden. But now someone knew, and instead of judgment, she found compassion. Daniel explained that Harper Foods had a program to help employees in need. He offered Clara a better-paying job at one of his stores, along with a temporary apartment, until she could get back on her feet. He also arranged for childcare, so Clara could focus on her work without worrying about Mia. Clara was overwhelmed. She had never expected this kind of kindness, especially from someone she had just met. But as she looked into Daniel's eyes, she saw sincerity. She saw hope. Over the next few weeks, Clara's life began to change. She moved into the apartment, a small but cozy place that felt like a palace compared to her car. Mia thrived in the daycare, and Clara found herself smiling more, laughing more. She was still cautious, still afraid that this new life might slip away, but she was grateful for every moment. Daniel kept in touch, checking in on Clara and Mia regularly. He didn't do it out of obligation. He did it because he cared. He had seen the strength in Clara, the love she had for her daughter, and he wanted to help her succeed. As time passed, Clara's story spread throughout the company. Employees were inspired by her resilience and by Daniel's kindness. It became a reminder that no matter how successful you were, it was important to stay connected to people around you, to see their struggles and offer a helping hand. One evening, as Clara sat in her apartment, watching Mia play on the floor, she thought about how far she had come. She thought about Daniel, about the second chance he had given her, and she made a promise to herself. One day, she would pay it forward. She would help someone else the way Daniel had helped her. The story of Clara and Daniel became a legend in Crestwood, a tale of hope and humanity. It reminded people that even in the darkest times, there is light, that kindness can change lives, and that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply care. Moral of the story: no matter how successful or busy you become, never forget the power of kindness. A small act of compassion can change someone's life forever. Always look for ways to lift others up, because in doing so, you not only help them, you also enrich your own life. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. Stories like these remind us of the power of kindness, courage, and standing up for what's right. If this story touched your heart, made you think, or inspired you in any way, let us know in the comments below. Tell us where you're watching from. And don't forget to share this story with others. Sometimes, a simple act of sharing can make a huge impact. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join our community. We've got more heartfelt stories coming your way. Until next time, remember, kindness changes lives. See you soon.